We're here at Identity Week Europe 2025. It's coming to the end of day two, almost. We enjoyed a brilliant keynote this morning from Mostafa Hassanin, who's the Group Chief Security Officer at Swiss Marketplace. He's had a career in the financial services before that. I wanted to go through what's the key pointers from your presentation this morning. You spoke about the business and economics of fraud and how to make less attractive to fraudsters. What are your key takeaways?
So basically, identity is the most important thing when it comes to dealing with fraud, because it is the very first thing that customers deal with in the beginning. And the idea is that identity, think of it as your infrastructure for trust. And this is how you become a key differentiator and earn a competitive advantage over the competitors when you invest well in identity. And the idea is to keep investing in identity, not just like a fire and forget.
Absolutely. And how do you manage identity verification across the full e-commerce ecosystem?
That's a good question, because we have like multiple online marketplaces, and the very first thing is that we all use the same solution, by the way. So it is the same system that is being used for everyone or for all the online marketplaces. The idea is not all marketplaces require the same, let's say, requirements when it comes to identity. For instance, when you access an auction place and you need to list something, it is different than when you just occasionally access HomeGate or a real estate platform to scout for properties. So what we do is basically everyone is using the same solution. We have like the Fusion dashboards to see, let's say, like the state of identity and compliance across everywhere, but that doesn't mean that we require the same steps or factors or requirements for the same identity verification for everyone or in different places in the flow.
And are some complying more than others? I mean, you've got different marketplaces. Are they adopting identity solutions?
We're all adopting the identity solutions, of course, because again, identity is the very first thing that you interact with when you access the platform. But for instance, concretely, like when you just access the platform to scout for a property, it wouldn't require you to do MFA. It wouldn't require you to go through KYC. But if you need to basically list an item on an auction place, then it is peer-to-peer, so it requires you to do KYC. So also it's important to recognize and address the business model while we are dealing with identity in general. For each business model require different requirements.
With the emergence of generative AI, what threats and opportunities are shaping the identity verification landscape?
I actually, for me, a lot of people would see generative AI or AI in general like a threat. For me, I see it also as an opportunity. So when it comes to identity landscape, of course, you see deepfakes, you see fake identities, you see fake videos that are used for the KYC. So basically, like more concretely on the KYC process, if you have a KYC process, then you may want to think twice how it is being implemented, how it is being executed, and what does it require from the user, and is that enough proof with the generative AI going on? Because you can generate a fake ID relatively easily, and you can also generate a fake video, you can do deepfake. So that's of course a big threat right now. But as there is a threat, there is also an opportunity. And I like to look more at the opportunities rather than the threats. And from our side, for instance, like what we do is that we use generative AI in the defense also to be able to cope up with the landscape. Because if there is one thing I can say is that, right now we are not winning this, let's say, this battle against the attackers if we don't use AI, because they use AI and they use it also without too much rules, and we use AI but we use it with some rules, so there is no way you're gonna win this battle without using AI. So concretely as well, when it comes what can you do in Gen AI is very good at dealing with any text problem. So let's say, for instance, you are checking messages or phishing links or all of these things that are involving text. So you can use also Gen AI in order to see how likely is that gonna be a phishing link, how likely is this gonna be a phishing message. And I can tell you that our AI has said, like, if any message starts with hello ? That's 70% fraudulent. So these are the learnings that you would get also, and you would even try to automate in your flows and process to protect your customers only via using AI and looking at it as an opportunity more than a threat.
Yeah, it's interesting to how it's involved in your risk-based strategy. Based on your experience in Switzerland's financial services sector, what lessons can e-commerce platforms learn from the KYC approach across different verticals?
Right, they do it. There are two things actually in the financial sector that are very I see them less and less in different other sectors. One is the step up, step down term, which is basically you would step up the user to a higher privileges if you see that this fits the user and they have passed through the verification checks that you want, and you can also step them down if you see that something has happened that you don't like. Concrete example, you want to pay, let's say 200,000, then you can ask for the MFA again, right? And then you can elevate the user that he can make payments outside if they use certain type of multi-factor. So this is one thing. And this is something that we are trying also, like I'm trying to apply those learnings from the banking sector in order to also help online marketplaces. And we apply it also not exactly the same way as it is, because it's a different business, different industry, but we do the same, for instance, when we call it a security flow, and we would do the same, for instance, when we see there is like a strange sort of listing, there is a strange price, so we ask for that. So we step up the user to do this action that they are required, that they want to do. And the second thing also from the banking sector is that they do the KYC process early as possible and as strong as possible. So during the onboarding, so when you open your banking relationship, then during the onboarding, you would onboard the user to the iBanking or e-banking contract, and then that's how you do the onboarding and KYC as early as possible with the selfie check, with the liveness check, etc. And this is something also we have done in order to make sure that we do it as early as possible in the process to protect our customers. So long story short, do the KYC as early as possible and use also the step up and step down approach. So you can also do it. You can also ask the user to send their ID again to step them up if something happened on their account that you have stepped it down.
I think there's critical learnings to see from the banking sector. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, my pleasure.